Okay, so here we have a 2011 BMW X3. It's in pretty good shape, 10 years old. And if we go inside, we can see that the seat looks pretty much like new. And the reason why that is because the seat's already been refinished with our leather dyes. You can take a look at the other side. You can see the wear and the fade in that side, and of course that's the passenger side. And the passenger side is always the seat that looks great, and the driver's seat is the one that usually looks terrible. But this seat did look, of course, worse than that one, but now it looks pretty close to brand new. We refinished this seat probably a few weeks ago. We just wanted to wait and show you on video how it's done very easily and simply. The back, you can see these scratches here, chunks taken out, scratches again, no rips or tears, pretty good shape considering, 10 years old. It hasn't had any animal abuse or anything like that, just normal sort of everyday wear. But if you did have a lot of dog scratches or deep rips or tears or anything like that, we do have a leather repair filler. But we're going to show you how to order this. Go onto our website. We're going to show you how easy it is to choose your vehicle and order your kit, and then we're going to get right back in the vehicle and we're going to do that seat in real time, real quick, show you how it's done, and maybe do half or just one side, so this way you can see it done and you can see the difference. But of course, just like anything, whatever you do with our dyes looks like new again. See how you can see a little bit of the fade here, and this looks a little bit more robust, but it's back to the original color. So we'll be back in a second. Okay, so we're in the car. What I would suggest you do is pull the seat forward like this. So this way you can work on it, and put the backrest all the way back. So this way it's easy to work on. So the first thing we want to do, if you want, you can take a vacuum cleaner and remove everything, or you can just dust it out. It depends on what you want to do. This one isn't too bad. You can just sort of blow it out, or if it's really bad, you can, of course, use a vacuum cleaner. So here's our kit right here. There's the 4-ounce kit. Of course, this is everything that comes in the kit. You get the cleaner, you get, of course, the 4-ounce bottle of dye, you get the sealer, protective top coat, you get your cleaning cloth, you get your sponge applicators, rubber gloves. Again, we already used this kit, so it's not mint, but you can see that that is the kit. So just looking inside here, this is a sponge that we already used, and you can see the amount of flex that's in this. Okay, so those are the dyes. Nothing's wiping off on your hands, nothing's stiff or anything like that. The dyes bend and flex at the same rate as the leather. Very important. So we actually can reuse this sponge. We can wash it out, or we can just use it like that and we can reuse it, no big deal. So first thing we want to do is we want to go inside the kit. We want to get our cleaner, and you want to get your cloth like this, and you just simply spray the cleaner onto the surface like this. Or what you can do is take your cloth and you can just spray the cleaner on there, just like that, and you can just gently massage the cleaner into the areas like this, right? Very gently. And you can start to remove soil or whatever it is. If it looks blue, it's usually, gene transfer or gene dye. But if you had a lot of soil on this leather, let's say they were light colored leather seats, and you just had like caked on dirt, you want to actually spray the cleaner onto the caked on dirt like this. Okay, you want to take your glove and just sort of massage the cleaner and loosen up all that dirt like that, and then take the cloth and then just gently wipe it away. And again, you can see here. Okay, so we're going to finish cleaning this up. Again, we're just let's spray the cleaner directly onto the surface. Just like this. And we just massage it in a little bit to get it all in the grain and down into the stitching. Like that. See how it's foaming up a little bit? That's normal. Okay. Just like that. And just take an area on the cloth that's not dirty. And the reason why I say not dirty is because if it's not dirty, after you wipe it, you can see what came off, and you can see there. Now the other thing is, if you've used a lot of creams or conditioners or oil products in the past on your leather, or let's say you're just a mechanic or a construction guy that has a lot of oils on his clothes, that cleaner is probably not going to perfectly clean this leather, because it's not made to be so strong to be a stripper. It's not supposed to damage leather, it's only supposed to clean it. So if you think that you have a coating on here or oil on here, get yourself some 99% rubbing alcohol, and everyone's got it. Drugstores, Walgreens, Walmart. Take yourself a paper towel, pour some rubbing alcohol like that, and all you need to do is just simply wipe it down. If you think there's oils or a lot of Armor Alls or all kinds of crap people use all over the place on leather, so what you're doing here is you're just getting it really good and dry and clean. Okay. All right, so it's taking off a little bit of something. Who knows? It could be color. It looks to me like grease a little bit that maybe the cleaner didn't remove, or it could be a little bit of color, but no big deal. We're going to make this seat look like new. So we're going to finish cleaning the rest of the chair. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, so what we've done is we've cleaned the whole seat really nice. We've of course wiped it down with some rubbing alcohol, and then we cleaned the backrest of the seat. We let it dry. Of course, you can see that it already looks fantastic, but it's going to look even better. We're going to take our sponge that we used the other day, that of course can still be used. Okay, you would probably be using a fresh sponge when you get your kit, but you can use the old sponge, and we're going to get our off black leather dye. We're going to shake the bottle. We're going to put the lock top cap on it that comes in your kit. Going to open it up like that, and you're just going to apply it to the sponge. Just like that. See? Just like that. And now, work from the farthest area away and then work towards you. Don't work here and then work farther away. Work from this way and then back. So we're just going to get this. Now there's stitching on here too. It's a very dark gray. We do have a video on YouTube that shows light colored stitching, so how to avoid, you know, of course, dyeing over the stitching. But with this one, we're just going to dye over. It's not really going to make that much of a difference. So here we go. We're just going to wipe it on just like this. Get right inside the seams just like that. Just like that. So that's done. Now we're going to go over here. Put that on. You can tell that there's a little bit of, we need more dye now because it's not going on like it was before. Put more dye on, sort of wipe it on, and what this is going to do is it's just going to lay the dye over the surface, and then you can go like this and then just wipe it over the surface. And what I'm doing is I'm pressing with my fingers right inside this seam as well. Okay, so we're just going to put it on the surface like this, and then I'm pushing into the seam and using my fingers like this right down into the seams when I'm using the sponge. Okay. A little bit more. And it's very easy to apply, as you can see here. Really easy. I'm going to go over that stitching. We could, of course, avoid it if we wanted to, but we decided to go over the stitching. And if you wanted to later, you could even wipe the stitching clean. You know, if you use some lukewarm water before it totally dries and cures. So that's one coat. Already with one coat, if you were to just leave that and let it dry and then apply your sealer, it would look great. However, the durability and longevity of the repair comes with more coats. So this is the look great coat, look good coat. But if this is an area that you're always getting in and out of, it's going to take a lot of abuse. So we would recommend putting the dye on heavier, and the way you would do that is by dabbing it on. So see right here how we're dabbing it on heavy? That's what we're going to do. We're just going to dab it on heavy in the areas that take the most abuse, just like that. And you can dab it on as heavy as you want. Just make sure that it's not running down the seat, I mean. Again, we can put more on. We can put it here and then just dab it on. And when you dab it on, again, you're putting it on heavier, and when you put it on heavier, it's just a thicker coating of dye, and it lasts longer, and it can take more abuse and more wear. It'll last longer, a lot longer. But if you're just selling the car or something like that, I mean, you could literally just put one coat on and make it look great, and it'll probably look good for a year or so, you know. But if you put it on heavier, then it's going to last a lot more than 1 or 2 years. Just like that. A little bit more, sort of spread it on and just dab it like that. And then just sort of go over it like this to sort of even out the dabbing. If you've noticed, when you dab it on the first time, you might have a little bit more dye here and a lot less dye there. So what you do is you just dab over it again, and by doing that, it sort of goes on a little bit more evenly. See, I'll show you. See right here, see how it's dabbed on like really heavy? We can fix that later. And just go over it like this. And you can dab gently. And here we're going to get down a little bit more into that crease. There. And just let that dry, or you can take your hair dryer to speed it along, or you can just let that dry. It'll probably take an hour or so, or if you want to use a hair dryer, maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, full transparency here. So we could have just let this dry overnight, or, you know, again, it depends on where you are, Singapore, Florida, Alaska. I mean, it has a lot to do with your environment. Generally, if you put the dyes on this heavy, would probably recommend to do it, you know, refinish it with a sealer, let it dry overnight. Or you could use a hair dryer. We're going to use a heat gun because that's what we use. We don't recommend you using a heat gun because you can burn the leather. With a hair dryer, you won't burn the leather, but we're going to show you what it looks like when this finish is drying. We use heat guns a lot, but if you're going to use one, make sure you always put your hand in the way of the heat gun. And if you can burn your hand, you could burn the leather or vinyl or whatever you're looking at, because you know, our products can also be used on vinyl as well. They just take a little bit longer to dry and cure because vinyl is non-porous, and they just sit on the surface as it takes longer for the dyes to dry. Okay. So here we go. You can see all that shiny, wet dye is drying up. It's going to look like a brand new finish, because it is a brand new finish. You don't want to burn leather, because when you burn leather, it shrinks up like a pork rind, and it's very difficult to fix. Even for our products, burnt leather, sometimes you actually have to cut the piece of burnt leather out and then fill it with a filler and all the rest of the stuff. But in this case, you would never want to do something like that. So just be careful if you're using a heat gun. Okay, so we're going to let that cool down and we'll be back to apply the sealer. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to seal this using our sealer right here. This is our Automotive sealer, and of course this is a satin finish. If it was a matte, it would say matte, okay? But this is the stock satin finish. It's going to look like this seat over here that's on the driver's side. Now, if you look at this, this doesn't have any type of shine to it. This is just basically the shine of the dye. When we apply the satin sealer, it's going to have a little bit more of a shine. If you ordered the matte sealer, it would have less of a shine than this, okay? But again, this is the satin default sealer that comes in most cars. Not many cars have matte, but some do, and when you have one, you want to make sure you have the matte sealer. So again, we're going to want to shake this up. And if this was a matte sealer, you want to make sure you really do a good job shaking it, okay? That's just a little tip. Take the cap off, get yourself a fresh sponge. You want to spray the sealer directly onto the sponge. You can even go like this, so it's nice and evenly applied to the sponge. And again, you want to work from farther away towards this way. So the sealer wipes on pretty easy, just like that. You do it with a light hand. You don't have to have a heavy hand. Okay, just wipe it on like that, and then you can just wipe it like this. And if you see any sort of streaking or something, I mean, yeah, you can wipe it away or whatever, but it's very easy to apply. Like even just like this, just like with the weight of my hand, just bang, just like that, finished. Same thing here, put some sealer on there, wipe on the surface, and then just sort of wipe it like that, and you're pretty much done. The more you wipe and like if you wanted to remove a little bit of a shine, you'd flip the sponge over and you could go like this, see? And you can sort of wipe the shine away. So you could kind of make it a matte finish just by application, but again, we would recommend our matte finish for a really matte shine. So we're just gonna let this dry. That's all you need. Or we're gonna dry it up with the heat gun. Getting a little bit of rain in here. That's okay. And I see just a little area here where there's just a slight streak, so I'm just going to show you how to fix that. You would just basically put a little bit more sealer onto the area, wipe it on, and then just go like this. Done. And then dry it up again. But you don't really need to wipe it on too much. You just sort of just need to lay it onto the surface and wipe it one way, another way, and you're done. Very easy to do. It dries pretty quick. And take our gloves off and just touch it. And I don't know about you, but this feels like brand new leather to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the seat up. We'll be back in a second. We're just going to put the seat back up. Okay, so we're going to put the seat up. So this way, well, it's kind of slow here, but what are you going to do? Can't make it any faster. Well, we could make it faster, but just do it this way for now. So you can see the difference, maybe, from new to 10 years old. Can you shut that door over there for me? Let's just shut the door a little bit. Might take the shine away. Can't really see the difference with this lighting. Maybe here it looks a little bit more gray, and here looks a little bit of yellowy sort of green. That's just the fade in the seat. But if you look at it from here, or if we go around, yeah, I think we can see the difference here. Might be able to see the difference there a little bit. Maybe if we had a little bit better light, but there's a big difference between this seat and the old seat. So what we'll do is we'll do the rest of the car. We'll show you some bonus footage. Of course, we're going to finish the rest of this seat, and we're going to, of course, show you how to get rid of all these scratches. No problem. Okay. So we'll be back. So I think this is probably the best angle with the lighting that we have at the current moment. You can see that this seat is a nice robust off black, and this seat here, you can see a little bit of the fade in it, of course, because it is faded from the sun. But there's the difference. You can see from this to that, you can see the before and after there. Okay, so we'll get going on the backrest, and then we're going to do the back seat, and we'll show you how that turned out. Okay, here's the back seat. We're going to fix up these scratches, as you can see here. And I think there's a few scratches here. So again, we're just going to put the dye on the sponge, just like that, and it spreads nice and easy. Just like this. And like that. And you notice that when we go over the scratches, it looks fantastic. Because it's not an oil or a wax that's sort of wetting the scratch and making it look better. Like there's a lot of products on Facebook and YouTube and everything where they advertise this magic stuff that goes on. It looks great. All that does is it oils the leather and it wets it. And as soon as it dries out again, you're going to see the scratch. This is a dye that's actually covering these scratches permanently. There's a big difference. So it's almost like going in your kitchen and making the walls wet with water or with olive oil or something, and they look great. How long is that going to last? Because the olive oil is going to soak into certain areas of the wall, and then it's going to dry out and it's going to look all patchy and everything. What you want to do is put a fresh coat of paint in your kitchen, and then it looks like a brand new kitchen and wall, and it'll of course last for years. And it's the same thing here. We're putting a dye on that's going to cover over all these scratches. Like you can see a scratch here. See that one right there? You dab the dyes on heavy. Bang, just like that. Now that's covered. So what we're gonna do is maybe we'll just leave this panel alone. We'll dry it up and we'll just show you the difference between the panels. Okay, so we've dried this all up, and as you can see, I mean, we haven't sealed it yet. It's still a little bit warm from the heat gun, but take a look. Can you see any of those scratches? There was one there. Can you see it? Let's look back over this panel, inspect it for perfection. We never like to say perfect in leather because leather's never perfect. It's a natural byproduct of beef, or lamb or whatever. I mean, there's lamb skins, there's cow hides and all the rest of the stuff, but leather itself is not perfect. If you want to see perfection, you want to look over here. See right here? This is perfection. You know why it's perfection? Because it's vinyl. This is vinyl. Okay, you can feel it. It's a thinner material. And the way you check for vinyl too is if you have a little pin, if you try to poke it through leather, it's not going to go through leather. There's going to be a lot of force to try to get it through. With vinyl, you can put on a 45 and you can just go into it like butter, okay? But we're going to, of course, refinish this too with our products. It's going to lay on the surface, and it would be best to just let it dry overnight because it's not going to soak it in. It's just going to lay on the surface, and it's just going to surface dry only, okay? With leather, the leather absorbs the dyes. So again, here, you can see the difference. Maybe get a different angle here. But I mean, this right here looks mint compared to this and this. This doesn't look bad, but you can see a little bit of the fading and a little bit of the milkiness in black, but this just looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, so we're going to finish the whole seats and we'll be back. Okay, so we are done with the car. As you can see, this passenger seat looks, of course, fantastic. The car isn't totally clean. You can see the interior looks great. Okay. Go around to this side, as you can see. Fantastic. Nice new protected top coat on there again. There's the original drivers, passengers, looks great. Again, very easy to do, doesn't take a long time. The way you would take care of this finish is you would want to clean and protect it. So you'd want to clean it maybe once a month. And you would use, of course, our cleaning and protection kit right here. This is the one for furniture. We also sell one for automotive interiors that aid in, cleaning up automotive specific stains. This is the 27-ounce cleaner. This is the protector. So you'd basically use the cleaner, spray it on a cloth, wipe down your leather seats once a month or so, and then at the course of every season or every 6 months, you want to clean them, let them dry, spray the protector on a sponge, and just wipe on a brand new protective top coat. So if you do that, your furniture and or your automotive interiors are going to always look new and clean. The one thing we didn't do is the armrest. You could do the armrest. We didn't really think it was necessary, but if you wanted to, you could do the armrest. The other thing a lot of customers have done in the past is they've actually done dashboards. So if you have any sort of scratches or anything like that on your dashboards, or even cracks, we've seen customers that have, in fact, right here, see all those little scuffs and stuff? A lot of times you can clean that, but if it's in there, you may have to apply some dye. So you're gonna probably have to do the whole door skin. But again, we ended up doing this whole car with actually a medium-sized kit, a 4-ounce kit. We generally, it all depends on condition. If your leather interior is really, really dirty or cracked or worn, or if it's a light colored leather, you're going to need about 2 or 3 coats to do a seat for it to look right. This seat was done with 2 coats, that seat was done with 2 coats, and we put approximately maybe 1 thick coat in the back because it doesn't get too much use. But if you wanted to do a whole car, we'd probably recommend a large. If you did have any deep rips or cracks or anything like that, we would recommend, of course, our leather repair filler. That's our 1-ounce filler. Does a lot of repair work, because what you're doing is you're just putting the filler. Okay, this comes actually with a repair cloth right here. See, you would cut the repair cloth a little bit bigger than the rip. You would apply it underneath the rip, then you would spread some filler within the rip, glue it down. We have different videos on YouTube that show you that. Or if you have a crack, you can just fill it in with the filler, scrape it off from the surface so it just goes into the low-lying area only. Let that dry overnight, and then you can apply the dyes the next day. So hopefully this helps. Again, you can do your leather interior, and it doesn't take a lot of time, and of course when it's done, it looks really good. It looks fantastic. Hope this helped. And for more information or more products, you can go directly to leathertouchupdye.com or fixyourleather.com.